Hello, I'm Shashwat Saxena from Galgotias University, and topic for my presentation is United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea lays down a comprehensive regime of law and order in the world's oceans and seas, establishing rules governing all the uses of oceans and their resources. It enshrines the notion that all problems of ocean space are closely interrelated and needed to be addressed as a whole. The convention entered into force in accordance with its Article 308 on 16 November 1994. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea is an international agreement that establishes the legal framework for marine and maritime activities. It is also known as the Law of the Sea. It divides marine area into five main zones, namely internal water, territorial sea, contiguous zone, an exclusive economic zone, and the high seas. Let us talk about internal waters. Internal waters are waters on the landward side of the baseline from which the breadth of the territorial sea is measured. Each coastal state has full sovereignty over its internal water as like its land territory. Examples of internal water include bay, ports, inlet, rivers, and even lakes that are connected to the sea. There is no right of innocent passage through internal waters. The innocent passage refers to the passing through the waters which are not prejudicial to peace and security. However, the nations have the right to suspend the sea. Coming to the territorial sea extends seawards up to 12 nautical miles from its baseline. The coastal states have sovereignty and jurisdiction over the territorial sea. These rights extend not only on the surface but also to the seabed, subsoil, and even the airspace above that area. But the coastal states' rights are limited by the innocent passage through the territorial sea. Now coming to the third zone, that is the contiguous zone. The contiguous zone extends seawards up to 24 nautical miles from its baseline. It is an intermediary zone between the territorial sea and the high seas. The coastal state has the right to both prevent and punish infringement of physical immigration, sanitary custom laws within its territory and territorial sea. Unlike the territorial sea, the contiguous zone only gives jurisdiction to a state on the ocean surface and floor. It does not provide air and space rights. Fourth zone is the exclusive economic zone. Each coastal state may claim an exclusive economic zone beyond the adjacent to its territorial sea that extends seawards up to 200 nautical miles from its baseline. Within the EEZ, a coastal state has sovereign rights for the purpose of exploring, exploiting, conserving, managing the natural resources, whether living or non-living, of the seabed and the subsoil. Rights to carry out activities like the production of energy from water currents and winds. Unlike the territorial seas and the contiguous zone, the EEZ also allows for the above-mentioned resource rights. It does not give a coastal state the right to prohibit or limit freedom of navigation or overflight, subject to very limited exemptions. The last division is the high seas. The ocean surface and the water column beyond the EEZ are referred to as the high seas. It is considered as the common heritage of all mankind and is beyond any national jurisdiction. States can conduct activities in these areas as long as they are for peaceful purposes such as transit, marine science, and undersea exploration. Now we will talk about some key features of the convention. The convention states that ships and aircrafts of all countries are allowed transit passage through straits used for international navigation. States bordering the strait can regulate navigational and other aspects of the passage. It classifies states as archipelagic states made up of a group or groups of closely related islands and interconnecting waters, have sovereignty over a sea area enclosed by straight lines drawn between the outermost points of the islands. The waters beyond the islands are declared archipelagic waters, where states may establish sea lanes and air routes in which all other states enjoy the right of archipelagic passage through such designated sea lanes. All the states have the freedom of navigation and overflight in the EEZ. that is the exclusive economic zone, as well as freedom to lay submarine cables and pipelines. Landlocked and geographically disadvantaged states have the right to participate on an equitable basis in exploitation of an appropriate part of the surplus of the living resources of the EEZ of the coastal states of the same region or subregion. Highly migratory species of fish and marine mammals are accorded special protection. Coastal states have sovereign rights over the continental shelf, that is, the national area of the seabed, for exploring and exploiting it. The shelf can extend at least 200 nautical miles from the shore and more under specified circumstances. Coastal states share with the international community part of the revenue derived from exploiting resources from any part of the shelf beyond 200 miles. The Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf shall make recommendation to states on the shelf's outer boundaries when it extends beyond 200 miles. States are bound to prevent and control marine pollution and are liable for damage caused by violation of their international obligations to combat such pollution. States are bound to promote the development and transfer of marine technology on fair and reasonable terms and conditions with proper regard for all legitimate interests. State parties are obliged to settle by peaceful means their disputes concerning the interpretation or application of this convention. Disputes can be submitted to the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea established under the convention, to the International Court of Justice, or to arbitration. Conciliation is also available, and in certain circumstances submission to it would be compulsory. The tribunal has exclusive jurisdiction over deep sea mining disputes. Thank you for your time. Any questions regarding the topic are welcomed in the comments below.